Bored of Minecraft? Well, here are all the ways that you might start to enjoy the game again. Starting with, in this mod he plays a fish, but this time you're a fish that's going to beat the Ender Dragon, which with 1.5 hearts and the need to stay hydrated, patience will be the key to success. And for one, if you're looking to beat the game, you're going to have to find some way to get water into the Nether. But if you bring a cauldron and a bucket, you might just be one step closer to beating the game and seeing the credits. And at the very least, seeing a dragon fight a salmon is going to be something worth watching. Minecraft's typical worlds are 60 million by 60 million blocks, and here it's 16 by 16. And as we'll soon notice, playing with a world border this small quickly becomes a cruel joke. Because if you were to see anything on the other end of that world border, be it a tree, pigs, or even diamonds, there's no chance that you're getting through to get it. Oh, and you can kiss goodbye to beating the game because there's no way that there's an end portal spawning this close to spawn, especially one that's fully completed. But hey, if you look at what Jaeger's been able to do on a 100 by 100 world, it does prove that there is still plenty possible. You're just gonna have to get creative. If the tunes in Minecraft are getting you down, then why not try to collect every music disc? With 12 to get, there's plenty to keep you busy there. And granted, not all of them are created equal. I mean, at least 2 of them suck. But if you want to get all of them and fill out your collection, then all you need is a skeleton and a creeper to get you through this time. Instead of our lakes looking like this mod makes them look like this. And with water and lava switched around like this, the whole scene of the overworld changes. Because now we got a big expanse of death and an occasional puddle of water for relief. Which is a bummer when you're trying to fish, but at least you'll have better luck over in the Nether. Because yeah, it's changed over there too. Which is great for us, but unfortunate for the poor Stratters. Here we got an aquarium, but you'll notice that the biggest problem is that we don't have fish inside. We're going to want to solve that by going out and going to different coral reefs and things, and looking for all the different tropical fish that you can find. I mean, there's over 2,200 variants that you can find in this game. So, while we're only going to be able to spawn a few of them here, they don't all spawn from a bucket. The truth is that if you want to do something crazy like mud flaps, this is a really big project to undertake. It's hard to call it necessarily a fun one, but I don't think you'll be bored while doing it. Just maybe don't get too close to the pufferfish ones. And then if you get sick of them, you can just add in an axolotl and start again. What do you get when you take 3 diamonds and 2 sticks together? That's right, a block of dirt. Or at least that's how it is in this game. Because here it's Minecraft, but crafting recipes are randomized, which offers us a huge disadvantage when you don't know what's going to give you what, which could be great, or usually it just ends up being weird. And at the very least, I'd say try to turn on your recipe book before you take this on. Otherwise, it'll be a whole other challenge trying to remember what crafts into what. If you're looking to conquer the last dimension once and for all, then you're gonna have to kill the Ender Dragon 20 times. Now, that sounds like an oddly specific number, but hear me out, because every time that we rematch the dragon and kill it, we get a new end gateway portal. And for those of you who don't know, by killing the Ender Dragon this many times, we're able to get a whole ring of these end gateway portals around your main island, which creates a really cool visual and quite the trophy if you're trying to show off to your friends. The honey block pearl door. So the idea here is that we're sneaking in, getting the ender pearls, and then if there's a specific angle that you hit this honey block, slip through, and there we go. We have now ejected ourselves into our hidden base. Not the most flashy, I might add. Oh yeah, we've got these water columns that are slurping us up. So the same technology that lets us do this, lets our hitbox sneak out the pixel, is what lets us use the same with the ender pearl. Let's see if I can make like an ender pearl stasis. Yep, okay, it's stasis, but I'm gonna be in stasis. So if you aim through the most translucent part, that's how you get out. And then same on the way up. Oppa! Does hurt a little bit, but you know what? So does honey. Minecraft's had its fair share of useless machines, but this might just have to be my favorite. And see, what's happening here is that we have 2 observers facing each other, with 2 sticky pistons facing into each other as well, so that when we start the redstone signal up above these redstone blocks, they just push each other back and forth, giving you a pretty mesmerizing sight. I mean, honestly, I think that Minecraft's loading screen should just be one of these instead of whatever loading bar they have. It'd be a lot more creative, but regardless, while the original post says that this isn't much, I'm one to disagree. And if it gives me something to show off to my friends, that's something I can be proud of too. Here we've got the armor stand door. So going over on the location, we've got our armor stand over here, looking a little naked, but if I were to add something on top of it, like a turtle shell, that triggers and lets us get through. And the reason for that is a specifically calibrated skulk sensor that you can see here. We've got a lectern on page 5, giving it an input of 5, then letting us go through and detect for different things. How about actually refurbishing one of these bastion remnants when you conquer it? By sprucing up the place with some of the new wood types that were introduced in the Nether update and really just making it look more like a home, you can make a really cool base out of one of these things. Once you get the piglin out of there, this is a great way to have a ready-made base when you head into the Nether.
Here we've got the redstone ore update door. I'm walking through the mine shaft, right? Nothing crazy, maybe mining a few blocks. I just punched that, bam, into my secret base. Now this does work as kind of a timed thing, which is annoying, but by having it powered with an observer underneath, we go into a copper bulb that gives us the binary output to then make this redstone door. Very nice.
With the use of craftable conduits, you can actually make your own Atlantis right down in the oceans of your survival world, and live there too. And because this is such an intricate and cool project to pull off in survival, anything that you build down here is just gonna look worlds better than it would have above ground, because builds are always better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
The bed transpose door. Now, the idea here is that if we set it to night, and then I were to sleep in this bed, now this just looks like kind of a weird coffin setup, maybe a race car bed that ended up in a crash. But if I leave this bed now, when it's nighttime, it puts me out on the other side because I can't go on any of those other blocks, getting me to my actual secret base. If you're not able to sleep the whole night through, I got a skeleton shooting at me, no worries, I'm on the other side.
Making a zoo is a great thing to do because there's just so many different mobs that you're able to collect. And while some of them are able to be easily taken with leads, what I'd probably suggest for this one is to grab a boat, because not only does it look hilarious to have a panda in your back seat, but also it's a pretty effective way to get them where you want to go. Now, I'm sure some of you are familiar with the idea of a super smelter, where you have a big furnace array and it's able to help you process through your items. But what you really want is something like this, what I call the super duper smelter, which goes through a stack of items in the time that it takes a regular furnace to do one, which means you can have all the cactus green that you want with no extra hassle to you.
Here we've got ourselves the bonfire lit door by using ourselves a flint and steel like so, and then if we were to unlight it, that triggers the observer, letting us into our secret base. And now we're in, this just looks like, this looks like cult activity.
A fun and harmless prank to pull off on your friends during your spare time is to flip their entire base upside down. Now, don't get me wrong, pulling this off requires some skill and patience, but trust me, their reaction's gonna be entirely worth it. And also, extra points if you flip all the items around in their chest. That's just a nice touch. If you want to get a little bit more in touch with your passive side, try this. Did you know that with enough light and grass spawn proofing, it's actually possible to make a passive mob farm? Meaning you can get your pigs, sheep, and cows exactly how you want them, in a farm, produced fresh every single day. And while it's not exactly free range, I think it'll get the trick done.
What about living in your friend's walls? Taking a tunnel system like this through your friend's base is a particularly fun way to spend your time. And then you just see how long they can notice. I mean, if they already have trapdoors in their base, that's basically just asking for you to go and decorate. And you can hold sneak back there. Remember to always hold sneak while you're back there, because otherwise it will show your name tag. Even if you're crawling, it'll still show your name tag.
By this point, I think you've got a knack for exploring, so why not try to get every achievement while you're at it, or advancement, as they're now called. From wasting away an entire diamond hoe to having every single status effect at once, there are some tricky ones to complete, but at the very least, it'll keep you busy. And if you want to get really crazy, then why not try to partner that with your roller coaster skills and get all of them achieved on a rail, because that's just nuts.
The End Island Underground. You gotta really know where these things are to be able to find them. Oh, good thing I practiced flying into our base every day, otherwise I would not have been able to do this. We got our base here. This is a pretty solid spot to set up. Look, I mean, these aren't gonna be visible anywhere else. You usually need an end gateway to get out here, and if you kill the Ender Dragon enough times, you can place down enough end gateways to make it easier enough to get over here. It's a solid enough solution, just don't expect yourself to respawn anytime soon. You wanna share the joke bed?
But why not try to build the same house in different biome variations? Once you settle on a design, then you can take that and replicate that same idea in different biomes like a swamp, a desert, or whatever, using the blocks that are available to the region. Which means if you're looking for a change of scenery from your plains base, but you're still looking to have that feeling of home wherever you go, this is the best way to go about it. Or if continuity to vanilla means nothing to you, then the best way to get out of your comfort zone is by trying an insane pack like RL Craft. If you want to put your sanity and skills to risk, then there's nothing quite like it.
Oh, we just got a snowy strider. So, by having powdered snow here and regular snow, this means that by using naturally spawned powdered snow pits, at the bottom of the powdered snow, you can have an open hidden trap door. Now, okay, we gotta squeeze past a few Strider remains. There we go. And now we're sneakily into our base. And then if you want to get out, we got ourselves our trusty pair of leather boots a little bit later than when we needed them. And then you can swim right out with your leather boots without freezing. Awesome.
Speaking of ice boats, how about taking those off the straight path to your Nether hub and instead putting them in one of these curved raceways? From there, you're able to have a lot of fun and a lot of speed as you race your friends around the track. Plus, by switching up the kinds of blocks that you use, you're able to have off-road sections just as well as speed boosts on your new track. Although I am gonna say, if you're gonna go through the effort of building one of these, maybe just do it in multiplayer, because the competition in single player is just not as fierce.
The iceberg dive. Known affectionately as the Titanic, the iceberg dive, the idea here is that we're plunging underneath the iceberg to find our base. And then by swimming inside of the iceberg, we've not only got a cramped spot, but also a pretty hidden base. This might look like a statue. It probably looks more like a portal, but what we've got here is exploring an ancient city. And while just braving an ancient city alone is cool, what I really like is the idea of converting one of these over to be completely safe. I mean, no other hostile mobs are going to spawn here, so as long as you clear it out, it's fine.
In survival mode, the goal is to survive, but here, it's the exact opposite. And in this pack by Mr. Makenstein, even though we have a plethora of different ways to die in the game, none of them are going to work out. Or so it seems. And here, the challenge is that you'll have to go through each and every one to find out which one finally allows you to die. Because if the water floaties keep you from drowning, the propeller hat keeps you from falling, and even the cactuses shrink when you get close, it's gonna take a lot of trial and error. And if you want to do this with some friends, then you can make it a race to get to first blood. In this challenge from Wadsy, you can only move in a straight line, and that means no moving right or left or anything, just forwards and backwards, which seems simple enough until what you want is just right out of reach. So if those diamonds happen to fall just a pixel outside of your hitbox, yeah, they're as good as gone. So at the very least, I'd recommend trying this with a water bucket as soon as possible, because with that, you could at least push the things closer to you. Or if you're looking to grab some food without chasing, then you might want to grab some seeds from the ground before you try to get that chicken over to you.
So normally we would have paintings up here, right? But walking through a painting, that's old hat. So the idea here is that if we have a painting that we instead throw items through, that gets us a pressure plate into our secret staircase. Now granted, this is just a secret staircase that lets us go right back up to where we were, but you can collect the items even if you want to as well. You see this observer? Well, the truth is that this light only is going to turn on at night. And by building these night lights, I think this is a really cool way to decorate your roads. Like here, we're using black concrete powder for the streets. And just decorating a few of these here with these inverse daylight detectors is very fun. Oh, look, with Pathland, it lights up even without having to see it. That's pretty cool. We've got the wind charge hidden lever door. Now, the way that this works, it's actually something that we were just talking about in another recording. What we're doing is we're using a wind charge in the seemingly normal field, maybe a little underwater. I throw that, and it can trigger through blocks, letting us get inside and having the ultimate base down here. And then we get in, we have our stuff, it rocks. Now, can we wind charge escape? Yeah!
In the recent updates, piglin bartering has been a huge help to Minecraft, but if you don't have the best luck on the market, it can take a while. So in that case, building a piglin bartering machine like this is super simple to do, and it can save you a lot of time. The way it works is super simple. All you need to do is just fill the machine with gold and then press the button to let it work. And the way that it does it is super straightforward. All that happens is that a golden ingot will go onto the pressure plate, the piglin will pick it up, and then that'll alert the system to refill. Just like that, you got an endless cycle going, and you'll be able to get the bartering trades going straight down into chest for your uses.
Let's go for a ride, Observer. So long. Yeah, and I think just building roller coasters, especially because we're going to get all the minecart changes coming up soon, having the ability to set these up to connect different parts of your base, even if you're not building something fancy like a piston bolt, you know, those are great for moving around fast in the Nether, but they also require a lot of redstone. Just doing something simple like this is fun.
By creating this figure 8 shape of powered rails and regular rails like so, we're able to space it out in such a way where even though this creeper thinks that it should be exploding next to us, it never gets close enough to finish the job, and which gives you probably the most rare kind of creeper that you can see. I mean, this is basically albino by how much it's staying primed. And I think this comment has the right idea. Even though this machine is great, they should really take this entire design and go and make a theme park built around this kind of creeper anxiety. Just be careful building one of these in survival. If you don't get the timing just right, you might end up with anxiety for an entirely different reason.
Well, this is kind of a tall house. What it actually is a parkour base observer. Oh my god, I already can't do jump number 1, dude. I'm getting kicked out of parkour civilization. By building this, I know that I'm one of those people who just loves to jump around the world as soon as I'm getting bored. Dan is especially one of those people. Just adding in little bits of parkour can make it pretty fun to just explore your base.
In this challenge, we spawn with only a half a heart to our health bar, and that means we can't take any damage ever or we lose. And all of a sudden, everything becomes so much more intimidating in the game. Whether that's falling from a tiny ledge, bumping into a sweetberry bush, or even getting spit on from a llama, all of those could end your run. Oh, and even though you don't regen, you'll want to keep your hunger bar on the top. Otherwise, starvation could lead to serious devastation. But if you manage to craft yourself a shield and some proper armor, you might just have the path for survival. Just get used to seeing this respawn screen. I get a feeling you'll be seeing a lot of it.
The pressure plate timer door. So the idea here is by having a pressure plate to open up your door, that's simple enough. But having a pressure plate that you have to stand on long enough to activate the hidden door. So I step on this, just wait. There we go! That eventually opens it up.
How do you move without moving? It seems like a stupid question, but in Minecraft it's actually possible. See, as this user found out, if you spawn next to a tree and then craft it into a boat, you can place that down strategically and use that to move yourself without ever using the move keys. And then later you can progress onto water buckets and even a carrot on a stick. So if you're looking to get creative with all the ways that you can move, this might be the best way to do it. And personally, I'd love to see someone use a flying machine in one of these challenges. I think that'd just be great.
The stone generator door. So the idea here is that we're detecting when a stone block breaks. Now we know that it's here with an obvious arrow. You wouldn't have this in your secret base, but we break that, open up our base, and we're all set. And then you have to break another one, I guess, to get back. There you go. But by having clean stone generation using flowing water like so, we can push it up so there's always a stone block ready to get us in.
I highly recommend downloading the No Cubes mod. With this, your whole perspective on Minecraft's gonna change. And if you're looking for a different outlook on your world than just cubes, then this is definitely the strangest way to do it. In this version, you play Minecraft, but yeah, you can't touch the color green. And while that may sound simple at first, it could mean entire spawn points are completely out of reach. I mean, you'll have to keep refreshing for a desert before you find something worth spawning in. Or if you choose red as the color, then you might be good in the overworld, but the nether's a different story. And if you can't touch the color blue, then you can wave goodbye to those diamonds. And that might just make this the way to turn hardcore mode into a whole nother level.
So a forest by itself looks pretty plain. But over here, we've got ourselves the rare stripped forest. And I think the idea of just going through and stripping all of the logs in a forest does make for kind of a new looking biome to explore.
Now, I've seen plenty of people turn the nether into the overworld, but I think the end is a better candidate for that for one simple reason: water. So with enough light for your grass to grow and enough water to make yourself a pond, it's entirely possible for you to set up a vacation home over in the last dimension. Just make sure the dragon isn't there when you're trying to do this, because then that hard work's gonna go right up in smoke. You really take the time to just look off past the end island into that blank expanse of nothing, you're gonna see just how much it resembles space. So why not push that to the limit and build our own space station right out there in the outer limits? And if you're just as nerdy as I am, you can push that task even further and build your own Death Star right out here in the middle of space. And if you think that sounds crazy, you wouldn't be mistaken, but it is definitely possible because Logical Geek Boy built one of these in his own survival world. So if you're looking for something to build in the end, then a technological terror might just be your next project. Beating Minecraft without jumping sounds ridiculous, but it's actually possible. See, the way that it works here is that instead of using our regular jump button to climb the mountains that we're used to, we'd instead have to scope out a tree and craft ourselves some stairs and slabs to get up, which is a lot slower, but at the very least, you might be more deliberate about the steps you take, literally.
Oh, we got some birch incorporated into this one. Everyone avert your eyes. But over here we got the setup to build the trash fire hopper minecart. Now, by throwing in some trash like so, a few rotten flesh, oh, something opened up. There we go. Secret base, baby. And we didn't lose any of our stuff. Even throwing it into fire, it didn't die. Yeah, so the way that we're doing this is that we have the hopper minecart in the block with the fire on top of it, that then pulls the items out instead of burning them. And then you can filter for a specific key item, making it so that you have to throw your most valuable possession into the fire, and that lets you out.
This is survival mode. This is creative mode. And this is sideways mode. In this 1.12 mod, the user spawns into a sideways world. world. And if you're up to the challenge, you might want to brush up on your parkour, because this involves a lot of falling, which seems casual enough at first, but if you make one mistake, you might end up falling a lot farther than you bargained for. And hey, if you want an even crazier challenge, you could always use this mod to try and spawn into an upside down world as well. Just make sure you spawn in a forest. If you want to make sure that no other hostile mobs start to spawn next to your base and take it over, slabbing the Nether is a great way to get over that. Clearly, light level isn't as much of a problem in the Nether as it is in the Overworld, so to stop spawning here, we have to place down half slabs or buttons to get mobs not to be able to spawn. Once you have all those blocks placed out, then you'll have a completely hostile-free Nether, which is pretty sweet, and especially helpful if you want to control the Nether spawns. Maybe you're more in touch with your artistic side than your sadistic side, in which case, I'd suggest using those same maps to make some really cool map art. While it's pretty tough to lay out, it is entirely possible to make some really intricate pixel art to feature around your house with this. And if you're looking for an extra detail to go that little bit farther, then what I would suggest is lowering the resolution on the source image, and then you can make it look like just one of the paintings in Minecraft. And while it might be a pretty strange source, it's definitely gonna fit in with the rest of the gallery. I would not go near this chicken if I were you, because even if it might seem nice from a glance, in this mod, all peaceful mobs will attack on sight. And this time, we're not safe in the overworld whether it's nighttime or daytime. And while some of the bigger mobs like sheep and cows are easy to see coming, the literal killer bunnies that walk around might be a little bit more discreet. But hey, when you gotta fight for your food, it'll at least feel more worthwhile than just taking it. Alright, let's do a pop quiz. Which one of these is grass and which one is diamonds? Well, you're wrong, because they're both cobblestone. And here, every texture looks the exact same in Minecraft, meaning that until you put it in your inventory, their true identity remains a secret. Or you could try to be sneaky and use the F3 debug menu, but that's not as much of an option for those on Bedrock. And honestly, just imagine branch mining with one of these. How many diamonds do you pass by before you finally hit some? So unless you're lucky enough to get yourself a few buried treasure maps, getting any kind of real armor in this is gonna be a hassle.
This isn't just a bunch of lights. It's definitely not that big thermometer that's over in California. This is a redstone silo for your items. So as soon as the hopper behind it fills up, then fantastic. And I think if you're gonna put in the effort to build a farm, then building one of these makes a lot of sense to me. It just makes it seem that much more impressive, and it gives you a simple enough way to track how it's going.
Why not try mastering note blocks? With 16 different instruments and 25 different pitches per that instrument, you will want to get really familiar with the essentials before you try to make your own music, because there's a lot to learn. Say, for example, you're looking to get yourself up on top of a second floor, but there's no staircase or ladder in sight. Well, if we closely examine this button, we can see that's not an issue. By giving that a press, a slime block will pop out of the floor and launch us to wherever we need to go. It's hidden, it's sneaky, and it's definitely fun to use. So really, if you haven't taken the time to put together a hidden slime block launcher, what are you waiting for? It's not a big investment to make, and if you don't have any use for it yet, then you should probably find one. It's just that fun to put together. For some reason, when we use the end portal like so, we're able to bounce these gravity blocks in and out of the dimensions and make it so that we get loads of sand, or really whatever kind of gravity block you want. And since collecting these blocks can be quite the hassle when you've already cleared out the nearby ocean floors and mesas, this is a pretty great way to get a renewable source of sand. Though, just be aware that you are going to have to clear out some of the end portal frames to be able to do this. But once you do that, you can pump that newfound sand to get all the kind of glass that you need. Many of us are familiar with the fact of TNT clearing out blocks in regular farms, such as a tree farm, a cobblestone farm, whatever. But what if we could combine all of those farms into one big funnel and have all of their different blocks just feed into this thing? That's a TNT blast chamber. And if you're looking for a hassle-free way to get all the blocks you need for one of your big builds, this is the way to do it.
Let's say we're in the Nether, right? Walking into my base, holding up my mushroom, and hey, just like that. So the way that this works is that we're baiting a strider on the other side, and by holding this specific fungus, very similar to a carrot key or other things that we've shown off in the past, but I mean, a warped fungus is so weird, I don't think people are trying this, especially having a strider over in the overworld to even make this happen. Very peculiar. Triggers the tripwires, opens up the door, you got your secret entrance.
By taking the time to terraform and sculpt your own island up in the clouds, you're able to have both a natural and hard to reach Minecraft base to keep all the riffraff away.
Here we've got a door that uses absolutely 0 redstone. Now how are we doing that? Well, the setup comes down to getting this hoe, and then if I were to just go over here to this dirt block, till it, that gives me exactly 1 pixel's worth of peeking through. See my minecart, eject out of here, and I'm in my base.
If just seeing some measly world border isn't enough to satisfy your journey, then how about dialing it back to the beta versions of Minecraft when the Farlands still existed? And if you're up for the bonkers task, then you can match Kilo Crazy Man's insane journey and walk to the far lands on foot in survival. This will definitely take some time to do, but as you can see from Kilo's stream, the payoff of reaching it is absolutely unmatched.
Observer, let's turn on moody brightness, because getting to experience Minecraft with way less light, you realize that this game used to be a lot more akin to a horror game. And I remember how unsettling it was to play with like programmer art graphics back in the day. Just see like how eerie everything was. Even Observer right now just looks so much scarier. I mean, I probably don't look great either. I look like an SCP waiting to happen instead of an SKIP.
How about joining a new small server community? For me personally, I find that whenever I'm down, a great way to get me busy is just by joining a small server of friends and playing some survival from them. It's a great way to learn new things about the game, and whether you join at the beginning of the world or right in the middle, you also get to have that really rare experience of seeing a server community grow, which I think is pretty awesome.
One of my favorite things to do when I'm just not sure what I'm doing in my world is just to go through, harvest all my crops, see the kind of yield that I got, and go and plant new ones. It's an easy place to start if you don't know what to do, and sugarcane is especially satisfying to go against. As you can see, we've killed a command block and put it on public display, because the intention here is to talk about how cheating can instantly ruin the fun of your world. Now look, I get it. Some people like playing with keep inventory on. This isn't to say that one way is going to be better to play, but what I will say is that from personal anecdotes, anytime that I've ever cheated to get back stuff that I lost, or teleported or used the /locate command, it doesn't make anything feel nearly as satisfying as it used to. I mean, after all, why would you care about anything in the world if you can instantly cheat like that?
And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?